Hello, everybody. It was amazing to have these sessions before the one I'm starting now, because there is a wonderful transition between re-enchanting your work and re-enchanting yourself. Re-enchanting yourself, Amélie talked about a transition in her life where she has a kind of quest to melancholia. And the same thing for Marlis, who lost her voice literally. So now we'll talk about re-enchanting ourselves. And, excuse me, we start with two enigmatic words, which are Greek to everybody, I guess, which is the trip from Acedia to Olbos. So you will understand what acedia means. Everybody has felt it. But I'll start with the next door cube, the Delphi cube. I think that now you all know about it. And this Delphi cube, it has three challenges, which is social and ecological sustainability, democracy, and education. And three, I call them facilitators, which will be, it's a toolkit in a way, science and technology, art, and inner development. Now, inner development is different. We have the 5 phases which urge you to act upon the outside world, and inner development, which say, act upon yourself, your inner transformation, will support sustainable, resilient, and effective external action. That's perfect. Everybody wants to act on himself. Everybody cares about himself. And if you do it correctly, if you finish by knowing yourself, as it was said, then you will have effective, marvelous, joyful, enjoyable action on the external world. So here we have a picture by Bosch. It's St. John Baptist in the desert, 15th century. Do you see St. John Baptist with an empty look on his face, lazily lying on a rock? That's a state of acedia. Acedia, A is in Greek, it's called steritikon, which is privative. Sidia, kidia is care. So no care. But what, and here's another picture of a monk about the same century, and his legs are crossed. He's also lazy, in a state of depression, melancholia, acedia. So I'll have to tell you that acedia, no care, but what care, I'll explain the word, is still considered one of the 7 deadly sins from the Catholic Church, from the Christian Church. Now it's called sloth, but sloth is, of course, laziness, but also not only laziness of the body, of the psyche, but also of the spirit. So the first that talked about akidia were the Greeks, and they talked about it during the Trojan War, the body of Hector lying unburied and dishonored in the camp of the Achaeans. Akidia, no funerals for him. They left him like that, no care. But of course, it became a symbol. We have the 4th century monk Evagrius of Pontus, which says it's the most troublesome of all evil thoughts. Why? Because, for example, if you have greed, it's an external sign. If you have acedia, it's about yourself. You don't care. You were born with a purpose. You were born to live an experience, to discover things about yourself, about the world, to make a difference. If you are in a state of acedia, you do nothing of all this. And that's, in a way, the biggest sin of all. So, Father John Cassian, also of the 4th century, said monks had acedia sometimes because at some point they were saying, what are we doing here in the desert? Why are we here? Why are we sacrificing our lives? It has no sense. And there are 2 ways of acedia. One is to be, as St. John, completely apathetic, and the other is to do lots of things, but things with no meaning at all. So that's acedia to you. And of course, I'll go quickly because you're tired through all this. You have St. Thomas Aquinas, the sorrow of the world that worketh death, sorrow about spiritual good as much as it is a divine good. That's acedia. And acedia could end in suicide, of course. Now I'm making a big jump to 19th century, 20th century philosopher Walter Benjamin, who wrote an essay on classical tragedy. And he said, for example, Shakespeare's Hamlet, the indecisiveness of the prince in particular, is nothing but saturnine acedia. He doesn't do anything. He can't think, he's blocked in a way. Just like Marley's had no voice. Finally, a very interesting lady who is still alive, Catherine Norris, and she wrote a book, Acedia and Me. And what she said it very clearly. Acedia is more than a medical or psychological issue. It has to do with spiritual and existential dimensions. And we all felt it during the COVID period. We were at home, we didn't go to work, we thought the world was a very difficult place to live in. We had no way, we thought we had no way to act upon it. We thought we had no way to act upon it, so that was a state of acedia, which of course had its psychological dimension. For example, burnout, blackout, or whatever, brownout, eco-anxiety in young people, etc., etc. But it also has this dimension of spirit. As Schiller said, by fostering inner harmony and freedom, individuals can reconnect with the world and contribute to its transformation. So, from acedia, we have to make the effort to do true inner development work. I won't give very many details on that because I don't have time, and during coffee break you can ask me questions if you want. We have this tree here. Inner development, it's all the roots that are steadily in the ground that nurture the tree, and then the tree can expand. And why I'm talking about this? Because the World Human Forum proposes for you a free tool, which is the Ivy model, the Inner Values Incubator. It's a process in a way, and this Inner Value Incubator makes you go through about 100 values, and you have to assess those values, see what they mean to you, and according to what they mean to you, find your priorities. And actually, you find out your core values, your aspirational values, your inner facilitators, and the models tell you, okay, you're at this and this stage of inner development, and from what you told us about your value, you should concentrate on art, because your action on art or your action on, say, sustainability will make a difference to the world. So it's just a process, it's one way to make you act. And when you act, there is no acedia. And when you act with values that are aligned to who you are, then you are in a kind of human flourishing, eudaimonia. So I'll finish with two pictures. This one is the School of Athens of Raphael, and we have Plato and Aristotle, and they say that to live a meaningful, purposeful, and virtuous life, you have to be part of a community which is devoted to realizing human potential and search for a space where intellectual and cultural flourishing are valued above material gain. So here's the spiritual dimension again for you. And finally, that was generated by AI, is the word olvos. Olvos means blissful flourishing. It means you have aligned your purpose, your pleasure, your values, a little bit like the ikigai Gary told us about. And when you achieve this, you will have had a fulfilled light, you will feel enlightenment, you will feel completed. So you will have traveled from acedia to olvos. I invite all of those who would like to take the assessment. It can take 10, 15 minutes or 30 minutes as you wish. It's free, it's the Ivy model. It's this wonderful foundation which is called Helidoni, the swallow, which financed it, and it's a tool the World Human Forum is offering to you. And you will get a report on your mail which explain exactly who you are, what your core values are, what your aspirations are, and which domain of the Delphic Cube or which domains you should work on to be happy. Yeah.
And now we are literally probably skipping the Q&A, as Irini said she will be around, although I thought that was quicker than what I was expecting. So if somebody wants to ask some question, Irini is here, so maybe move again, please. Move again, because it was a little bit quick how we moved from those... I know, my fault, I apologize. Because we moved from the interesting notions of acedia and olveos to the very practical tools of inner development goals, of the Delphic Cube, and then, of course, of our new value assessment tool that is Ivy, and that we do hope to work with also with organized groups, with schools, with corporations, with really academia. It is something that can allow people to understand also what they have in common and how they can connect as groups of people.
What I forgot to say is that the World Human Forum has a partnership with Inner Development Goals. Maybe you have heard of those. It's a Swedish initiative, and there are people all around the world working on these IDGs, which have been certified by the United Nations to be one of the tools to achieve the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals. And they have a very nice site. I invite you to look at their site. And as you can see, well, you can't see it because it's small on the model, what they say is there are 5 phases. One is being, second is thinking, third is relating, fourth is collaborating, and fifth is acting. And on the Ivy model, with your assessment, it will show you where you are, where you stand in the IDG framework, and what work you have still to do to achieve completely the IDG framework.
And here I want to come in and say that when we started working with the Sustainable Development Goals model, which of course is the UN Agenda for 2030, we created, and it is on our table outside, a little tarot game that uses the 17 SDGs. But we felt that we needed to introduce 2 more elements. And the first element was a critical thinking element. What's missing? How can some people at the UN level, even if it was done in a participative way, come up with 17 Sustainable Development Goals that I challenge anybody in this room to tell me what the 17 goals are. Even I know maybe 10 of them. It's really difficult to remember them. Why not 15? Why not 20? Yes, thank you, Victor. Here it is. Why not 20? Why not 15? 17. So what we did is we created an 18th card and we asked what's missing. And here comes the collective intelligence we want to harness and our critical thinking. And obviously today, our answer is what Irini just said, what's missing is the inner dimension. And the good thing is that we are not the only ones to think like that. Because outside there, in the global north, of the northern side of Europe, in Scandinavia, a movement has started, the movement Irini refers to, the Inner Development Goals Framework. It started like 5 years ago. They were connected with us from day one. They have today 600 hubs around the world. They work with the United States, with the United Nations. We have, as the World Human Forum, developed the Greek hub that we call Learning and Learning, that is run by Gerasimos Kouvaras, who was here last year but could not be here for some personal reason this year. And I don't know if you can read it, but indeed, the question is, what are the skills and qualities necessary to implement the Sustainable Development Goals? And those skills and qualities have to do with being, thinking, relating, collaborating, and acting. Let me just read what it stands here for acting: courage, creativity, optimism, perseverance. When it comes to collaborating, I see trust, I see mobilization skills. When it comes to relating, I see humility and connectedness and appreciation. When it comes to thinking, of course, critical thinking, complexity awareness, perspective skills, sense-making. But most importantly, when it comes to being, inner compass, integrity and authenticity, openness, self, and presence, Gina, presence again. So this framework comes to, I think, very wisely complete the framework of the Sustainable Development Goals. We are very happy it exists. We do hope you engage with it. I'm sure wherever you live, there is a hub that works with the Inner Development Goals, and it shows us how our analysis of the cube, which says, what about the fourth side, inner development, finds its application underneath in the IDG framework. So good news, we are not alone here, okay? More and more people in the world think like we do, And if we understand it and spread the words and also use this new Ivy model, the Inner Values Incubator, I think we can move ahead like that. Irini, you want to conclude?
Yeah, I want to say that the inner development goals are part of the about 100 values you will assess when you take the test. Because obviously, inner compass is a value, presence is a value, but there are others, of course.
Are there any questions? I can't see much. Pavlos?
Thank you. Thanks for the talk, and I've been wanting to ask a few questions for a while now, and I think this might be a good time. Without making it complicated, in 1884, the statement "God is dead and we have killed him" came up through European philosophy, and I wonder if generally some of the speaking is to do with how, as a group of people, we're dealing with that change. And I deal with pre- and post-fire communities, and one of the paradoxes I'm working with is transformation. And I wanted to ask about Thomas Aquinas and that the phrase that we're using, because I've come up with a term called "songs of the dead," which is a sort of a paradox which is hard to explain, but I'm wondering if there's a link there with the term that you've been working with today.
You want to answer?
Maybe we need some help. Is there anybody who has an opinion on Thomas of Aquin here? I'm not sure we fully got the question. Do you want to expand or repeat? And more importantly, I can't see who is talking.
Oh, I'm over here.
Okay, why don't you move over there so that we can see you?
Yeah. So
and help us a little bit more. Move forward. Move forward.
Here?
Thank you. Yes, perfect.
Yeah.
Now we can see you.
Yeah, so it's just the idea of often we're dealing with paradox, I find. You know, we have this idea of laziness, but actually maybe it's good to be lazy. And transformation is it's difficult, right? So it's something that we don't necessarily want to have to do.
It's more than a transformation; it's a metamorphosis.
Yes, yeah. So I'm just trying to think how it does the term, because I haven't come across it before. That how do you say it?
Metamorphosis?
No, the acedia. How do you see that as a paradox?
Acedia, everybody feels it at some time or other, you know. The thing is, the thing is, when you feel it, if you know yourself, you finally understand that it's just something that is traveling through you, and it's not something that will stay with you. It's a state, it's a flow. And if you know yourself, you know how to overcome it. And that's what is important. It's important to have it because, you know, energy is negative and positive, and they fight with each other, and that's how you transform yourself, of course. We're not in an angelic world where everything is always flourishing, and we shouldn't be. Acedia sort of fertilizes you. Probably, for example, Marlies, she took over aromatherapy during the COVID, so it helped her, right? And not only it helped you, but you had an action on the external world with it.
I want to make one observation as well. This is Gina. I haven't been in the room every single moment, but 2 times I'm remembering God was being referred to, and the 2 times that I heard God being referred to, they were referred to as He. And I'm wondering, in this process of non-binary
Right.
expression, that perhaps we can begin to reframe our own relationship to spirit,
Right.
and begin to reduce the idea and concept of gender.
God has no sex because God is not human. God has no sex because God is not human. It's just grammar. And we're used to that, so we say that. But you're right, we could invent a word or a gender, a meta-gender.
Okay, with that, thank you very much. We move on to coffee, and then we have the last and final session about the future of Elefsina. What can Elefsina be for all of us in the future? Thank you.